Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and if you're interested in breaking down the legendary Get Ready by The Temptations into 3 simple sections on the bass guitar, make sure you check out this lesson all the way to the end. Also, if you're interested in why using tab might be actually making your life harder, make sure you also check this lesson out too. Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar, and that of course is the legendary riff from the Temptations tune Get Ready. And today I want to take that song apart and show you how you can break it down into 3 simple sections. But first off, let me give you a little bit of background where this lesson comes from. Over the weekend I was lucky enough to play on a fantastic theatre Motown review show with a band called the Fly-Rights. They are 3 soul singers which get flown all over the world to do a Motown review show. They normally play on the big cruise liners, so I'm talking the really gigantic boats which will have 1,000-seater theatres, etc, going on. But every so often some super fan will want them to come and play in their hometown, and that happened in the UK last weekend. And so what they do is they book a local band to do that, and I got to play bass with another 3 fantastic musicians. And the opening tune was, of course, Get Ready by The Temptations. Now the interesting thing is everything's fully scored out because this is an end-to-end show. But within these scores, they are basically playing the original songs, but with slightly different beginnings and different ends. So a lot of the time I could just sort of zone out and play the songs as I know them, but keeping one eye kind of on the music at the same time. And what sprung to mind is this song Get Ready, which was the opening tune. You can basically break it down into 3 simple sections, which is the really cool thing. And I also want to talk about today why tab could be making your life harder than it needs to be. But we're going to break this down into 3 sections and talk about the tab one on section 2. But first off, I want to teach you this incredible riff. We are in the key of D minor. So let me just play it to you first of all so you know what it sounds like. So there is a PDF which comes with this lesson which will have all 3 of the sections written out. So make sure you download that from the description below. So let's take this apart. This is a 2-bar riff. So it is 2 measures long. So that's 8 beats in total, 2 sections of 4. And those 2 bars are related to each other, which is the really cool thing. So let's take apart the first bar of this. The first 4 notes we're going to start with here are. So that is 2 Ds at fret 5 on the A string. And then we go down to a C at fret 3 and then back to the D. So first off, just practice that. Just do that round and round. I always believe it's great to break things down into smaller units. So we've taken a 2-bar riff and broke it down into just 2 beats to begin with, just to build our foundation up. Now let's move on. This is a great riff because it practices off beats. All the notes in this riff are all 8th notes. So if this is our pulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, da 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 da. So that gives us the subdivision that we are working with. And what we do after this is we add in 2 offbeat 8th notes on beat 3 and beat 4 and. Let me demonstrate this to you. 1 ba 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 ba. So if you have your foot tapping, what you are doing is you are playing off your foot, so the note is placed in the gap in between. First off, I recommend just getting that riff down. can slow it right down, that's totally cool too. Like that, and then speed it back up if that's easier, but literally just start with that first bar. Once you're super comfortable with that, then move into the second bar, and this adds 2 extra notes in there. So let me just play it to you. What we do is we take the first 3 notes that we played in bar 1, da, 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 which lands square on beat 2, da, da, da. And then we have 2 offbeat notes, da, 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 ba, bum. And then we go to a G on beat 2 and ba, ba, da, ba, da, 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 ba. And then our last note is on beat 3 and this note is long, and this is an F. And make sure you really feel that 4th beat of the bar, because there's nothing played on it. So now what you'll discover, this riff, which is incidentally probably one of my favourite ever Motown riffs. I imagine the great James Jamerson was on it, or Bob Babbitt, one of those 2 guys. If you know, please do actually comment below. I looked it up before we made this video, and they weren't actually credited with it, because a lot of that stuff in the mid-60s was, the musicians were never credited. So if you know, please do comment below. So it's either James Jamerson or Bob Babbitt, and it is a great example of just how one riff can make a song. But there are a couple of other sections. So if you've learned that one riff, that will cover the entire verse section. Now, let's move on and talk about the chorus. Now, this is where tab can actually trip you up a little bit. I get so many students coming to me over in the Bass Lab Facebook group saying, can you recommend where I can get hold of good quality tabs? Which in itself is kind of a fair enough question, which I don't mind in itself. But if you sort of zoom out a little bit and take the 40,000 foot view, what you can do is you can actually boil it down to much less information, and I'm talking 4 chords here. With tab, what tends to happen is you zoom in on each individual note on a granular level, and you don't see how they relate to each other. So if you can get away from thinking tab and get into thinking chords, this will be a massive game changer for your playing. But let's continue on. The chorus is 2 4-bar sections. Now we zoom in to the key of F here, which is related to the D minor key. I won't explain how right now, but it is the relative major. So we've gone from D minor, and then we go to the first chord of the chorus, which is F, and then we go to B flat, which is chord 4, and then we go to chord 2, G minor, and then chord 5. So we go F, B flat, G minor, C. Then all the riff and the groove fundamentally is a pumping 8th note rock feel. So let me play that to you. So 1, 2, 3, bam. And then it does it again. So when I was within the fly rights on Saturday, and I realised that I was in just a standard chords section, rather than reading every single note that was on the page, which incidentally was in standard notation rather than tab, I literally just went into playing 1, 4, 2, 5, or F, B flat, G minor, C with a pumping 8th notes rock feel, and that is entirely what you know. Once you know that, then you can then start adding your fills from that point forward. And so you may want to take an idea in the Rock, Pop and Motown Bassline Creation course over in the Bass Lab Plus, which is my private membership community for really passionate bass players who want to take their bass playing onto the next stage. I have a course called the Rock, Pop and Motown Bassline Creation course, and in there is a device called the 2-note transition, which will show you how you can add some really great fills to that. Let me just show you. So you end up with a bass line which sounds a little bit like this. 1, 2, 3, bam. Or you might want to take the same idea but make it a little bit more melodic. There's so many options that you can play over that. It's a really, really great chord sequence to start grooving over. So what we have done is we have section 1, which is the riff that we play over the verse, and then we have section 2, which is our chorus groove, and then there is one more section that I'm going to cover for you today, and this is this little instrumental section in the middle. And what we do is we jump into G minor, and it goes, I'll play it to you first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is a unison thing which works with most of the rest of the band all playing the same thing together. So all it uses is 3 notes, which is G, A and B flat. And you can get the G at fret 3, you can get the A at fret 5, and then the B flat at fret 6, all on the E string. So let me play it to you. Then you're back into the riff. So this is a 4-bar sequence, so I'm going to take it apart for you briefly. But if you want to see this written down, make sure you download the PDF which comes with this lesson. So let's take this apart. The first 2 bars are the same. It is bum, gum, dum, dum. And what we are doing is we are playing the A on beat 1 of the, the G on beat 1 of the bar, dum, dum, and then pushing onto the A on beat 2 and dum, gum, dum, gum. And so you play it just before the 3rd beat. Dum, gum, dum, and you play that twice, and then the 3rd bar is dum, gum, bar. So we play the same pattern as we did in bar 1 and 2, but we put an extra note in which lands square on beat 4, and that is a G. So dum, gum, dum, dum, gum, dum, dum, gum, dum, dum, dum. So put those 3 bars together. Dum, gum, dum, gum, dum, gum, dum. And then we have this sort of really punchy passage here. Ba 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 da da ba. And this is a really common rhythmic phrase, which is 2 8th notes, da da, and then an 8th note rest, and then a note on beat 2 and another B flat, da 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 da. And then we have 2 more notes after that, which is an A and a G, and the A goes square on beat 3. And the G goes square on beat 4. This whole song for me is all about the light and the shade of playing notes on the beat and notes off the beat. So we go from this dum da 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 on really powerful, such great bass lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write these 3 lines out in a PDF. You can download it in the description below, and what your challenge is to do now is to take those 3 lines and work out where they fit across the whole song. You may want to write it out and map out every single bar. You may just want to clock it by ear, but what I want you to appreciate is how you can break Get Ready by the Temptations down into 3 really simple sections. So guys, that's the end of today's lesson. If you've liked this lesson, please do give it a like and share on social. Don't forget to download the 3 PDF which comes with this lesson, which will take apart all 3 of the sections that we've covered today. There is a link in the description below. Also, if you've got any questions, please do comment below. I've been James from eBassGuitar, and I'll catch you next time.